Welcome everybody to the March monthly Georgia ITE webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We've got an exciting set of presentations here from some of our local GDOT personnel throughout the state. We'll go ahead and get started with a few announcements to jump into some Georgia ITE information. First is we're still looking for volunteers for some of our committees to help get things done throughout the year. The technical committee and safety committee are both looking for some more help and input from the members. So if you're interested in joining those committees and providing some input, please go to our website, gaite.org, to find the contact information for Joe Gillis for technical and Sam Harris for safety. We'd greatly appreciate any input y'all could provide. Another thing big that's been happening lately is our marketing and communication outreach program. In this last e-blast, you may have noticed a note from Paul Sloan about our initiative to reach out to more people throughout the state now that we have these virtual options to get people involved in our monthly meetings or events when they don't have to be central to any physical location. We're looking to let people know that we have these opportunities for these monthly meetings and other events that they can be a part of. So there's some information in there. We'll be posting more on the website that you can just send along, so if anyone might be interested to reach out and we can get them information about Georgia ITE or what we have going on. So please take a minute to look at your e-blast and forward that to anyone you think might be of interest. The Southern District ITE annual meeting is coming up. Registration is open for that. The meeting will be all virtual this year. It will be April 11th through the 16th. I know early bird registration ends March 24th. So if you're interested in attending that, please make sure to go ahead and register so that way you can take advantage of the discount. And last, I want to give a big shout out to the winter workshop volunteers and organizers that we had. I know they had a very successful event. At the beginning of March, we had over 300 registrants, I believe, and a large amount of input and from both ASHE and ITE. So they did a great job. So I'm sure many of y'all were able to participate. And I just want to say congratulations to them again on the great work that they did organizing such a large conference like that, in the virtual realm. So with the announcements, then I'd like to go ahead and thank our sponsor for the meeting, Mar Traffic. Really, our sponsors are key to anything we do throughout the year. They provide us a lot of opportunities to provide these functions. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand control over to Murray to let him talk a little bit about his organization.
Hey guys, I'll jump in first. I'm Nate Prathatakis. Excited to be here with everyone today. Looking forward to hearing Chris Raymond and Cynthia Phillips speak. A little bit about myself. I joined MAR start of last year. So really excited to have joined the team. For those of you that don't know, we are a full service data collection company. We specialize in all aspects of data collection, turning movement counts, ADTs, pedestrian, bicyclist counts, queuing analysis. We have offices all throughout the Southeast, so there really isn't a project too large or too small that we can't handle. But beyond our traditional counts, we're early adopters with utilizing drones and artificial intelligence. And our CEO, Murray Allen, has worked very closely with this technology, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about some projects we recently teamed on with Kimley Horn.
Thanks, Nate. As Nate mentioned, yes, we've been looking at some alternative strategies, especially through the pandemic time. So we've been utilizing big data for historic analysis opportunities, and also looking at new technologies and data around drones and AI. And I wanted to share some of the benefits and opportunities we've got because of that. With the drone technology now, the analysis and the overhead view with the quality of the footage really allows us to do some additional things. And running the video footage at high quality through the AI allows us to look at a few different things that we couldn't do previously. So we can monitor things like vehicle lane usage. We can identify near conflicts and misses. And we can look at vehicle paths by vehicle type, going through there. And also things like entry, exit speed, and measuring average speed throughout things like roundabouts and complicated intersections and interchanges. Mark Lenners has been really helpful and a front runner in using this technology. We've worked with Mark and Kinley Horn on a number of projects in multiple states. And I just wanted to highlight quickly one we did for him, looking at truck traffic specifically around a large commercial location. Using the drone technology and the AI software, we're looking to provide unique vehicle identification numbers, looking at lane tracking, specifically, what lanes are the trucks using going through the roundabout, and from a heavy truck standpoint to see if they were utilizing individual lanes or, cutting corners based on the size of the roundabout. So Mark has got a lot of information and knowledge on this subject. So if anyone wants to speak to him specifically about that, I'm sure he'd be glad to give you some other thoughts. The drone footage is great for not just roundabouts, but we can utilize it for standard intersections, interchanges, and more complicated information purposes, specifically looking at some short range origin destination and things like that. So it really is an opportunity to utilize this technology for some more complicated and interesting opportunities. And now I just wanted to finish off by sharing a short video and showing you some of the highlights in action. Okay, so hopefully that gave you a brief insight over to some of these new technologies. If anyone has any projects or questions around this, then feel free to reach out to myself or Nate. Thank you for the opportunity to sponsor this event, and I will pass it back over to the rest of the meeting.
Thanks, Murray, Nate. We appreciate it, and we appreciate Mar Traffic sponsoring this meeting. So now I'll go ahead and introduce today's speakers, both of which join us from the Georgia Department of Transportation. Presenting first today will be Chris Raymond, followed by Cynthia Phillips. So Chris Raymond manages both the project review team and the roundabout and alternative intersection design team in GDOT's Office of Traffic Operations. He's been with GDOT for 10 years, working in various capacities such as construction project engineer, traffic operation plan review supervisor, and area manager before being promoted to his current position in traffic operations. He graduated from Kennesaw State University with a degree in civil engineering technology. And Cynthia Phillips is the district traffic manager for District 5 traffic operations. She has been employed with GDOT for over 28 years and has held positions as CET Design Engineer 1 and District Road Design and Traffic Operations Engineer, Access Management Supervisor, and Traffic Operations Supervisor before obtaining her current position. She graduated from Savannah State University with a degree in civil engineering technology. So, Chris, I will go ahead and hand it over to you.
All right, so I can get this going correctly. Everybody can hear me okay? And everything looks good?
Yep.
You probably can see y'all's faces. Yeah. All right, as you said, my name is Chris Raymond. I am a State Traffic Operations Manager over Alternative Intersection Design Group and Plan Review Group in State Traffic Operations. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the roundabout design guide, some changes we've made in the last year. It's honestly a pretty similar presentation to what you heard at the Winter Workshop if you were part of that. But I added some snazzy new graphics, so just to kick it up a notch. and hopefully you'll get something out of this. First of all, Roundabout Design Guide is a place you can find it on our website, our roads webpage. Probably all pretty familiar with that. I'll have this back up at the end of the presentation. And talk to you really, why we're going into, creating this guide, or why we created it a year ago, why we're updating it. As you can see, we've got about or over 70 roundabouts on the ground, and that's been put down over the last 20 years. But what we're seeing now with the introduction of ICE intersection control evaluation is that we're getting just a ton more moving to construction and design. So you see 20 under construction, 100 in design. The 50 in concept's probably conservative. And what we really decided we needed was something that would help, younger engineers, as we get this many projects, we just can't have, there aren't enough Mark Winners of the world out there to, design every roundabout that we're putting down. So we really thought it was important to get this guide out to assist the younger designer, less experienced designer with roundabouts, to get them some good guidance on how to properly design a roundabout. And we're doing this, the existing material that's out there, supplemental, or the chapter 8 of the design policy manual has some information on roundabouts. It shows it's pretty bare bones. NCHRP 672 has a lot of information, but doesn't really focus on another part beyond helping young engineers. We're also trying to focus on practical design. Again, as more roundabouts get out there, we got, costs tend to go up. We don't have the luxury of doing gold-plated designs every time anymore. So really, beyond just helping the young engineer, we're also focusing on elements that would help save cost and but maintain a vast majority of the safety benefits that roundabouts provide. So yeah, as you're probably all familiar with, we have single lane roundabouts. Three, we have mini, which are fully mountable, truck aprons, compact, which are basically smaller conventional roundabouts, but they're all pretty, fairly similar. What we're getting more into now, though, in Georgia, we have a fair bit of hybrids on the ground, and we're soon going to be getting more multi-lane. But one of the big things we're changing to that, though, is we're adding more turbo. We got, I'm sure you've seen Tiglar's presentation before, as far as the Dutch turbos, and we're not going full Dutch, but we're going, we're pulling some of the elements we think can help with some of the problems that we see on full multi-lanes, and we're applying them where we feel it's prudent and where it's going to really help both practical design and drivers navigate them successfully. So moving directly into geometric design, we have updated our iteration flow chart to really go in and give the designer an idea of the process they should expect as they're developing the roundabout layout. It's not just as simple as drawing a circle, drawing some entries, and you're all done. You got to look at the ops data, figure out your lane configuration, see if it's sufficient, and then instead of moving from just a single lane and going directly to a full 2x2, again, for the purpose of practical design, we're looking at adding lanes on the legs that are necessary in the configuration that's most economical and honestly the safest. More lanes. If you add a full 2x2 when you don't need it, you're adding more conflict points that didn't need to be there. So really focusing on the iterative process of going through and adding lanes as needed, right turn bypasses or dual entries or dedicated lefts, things of that nature. And the way we are guiding engineers to do that is with Sidra as our preferred analysis tool. It has a few benefits in that it has multiple formulas that you can use in one package. They got the Sidra specific formulas as well as the HCM formulas, and it also has the benefit of having pretty pictures. So you can look at the roundabout and you see exactly what you're drawing, or see if what you wanted is actually being displayed correctly. That's really useful, and not as clear on some of the other analysis tools. Not that we want to dog the certainly. I mean, roundabout analysis tool is a very good tool to use as well. It focuses only on the HCM formulas, but yeah, it's good. It doesn't have the whiz bang displays, but it's free, so good to pay for. Some of the core elements that we're focusing on for young designers, or on all designers, I suppose, is focusing on the core elements, ensuring space for trucks, proper speed reduction, adequate sight distance, but not too much sight distance. Accommodations for cyclists and pedestrians, and also especially on multi-lanes, providing path alignment and channelization, so ensuring the driver knows which lane to be in and has a clear path to maintain that lane, and ensure they know which lane they need to carry forth into as they navigate the roundabout. An example of the path alignment and speed control is a left offset example I'm showing you here. It's kind of a preferred layout. It's a preferred layout. It helps with speed control on entry paths. It helps with reducing the in-sky diameter, which again goes to providing more compact design, which helps reduce costs. So couple that with helping young engineers. That's what this is all about. Here's an example down in Colquitt County. Had a heavily skewed intersection, and along with providing left offset, we also utilize the additional space. Instead of creating a large circular intersection, we stretched it out into an ellipse to get to maintain the speed control that we needed, as well as allowing truck movements, but didn't have to go to a large round circle and take up more right of way or increase overall cost of the project. Another section that we're focusing on that has come up a lot with design is the high speed approach. How you're stepping down super elevation as you're approaching a roundabout that comes into a roundabout in a curve. There's been a lot of questions on how that's handled, since the expectation is that you slow down as you approach a roundabout. So, but there was really no clear guidance on how you would step down your super elevation. You don't necessarily want them, coming in with full super as they're getting closer and closer to the roundabout. We'll also talk about entry curves as far as providing speed control and truck accommodations. We provide a step-by-step guidance on how to do proper performance checks, for entry speeds, exit speeds, and even small tips on shortcuts on how to do it quickly and do it well. Some additional considerations we outlined for engineers is things that they might not consider otherwise, such as using outside truck aprons for accommodations of checked vehicles, or even the standard design vehicle to help reduce the overall footprint, and again save cost. So going through that, talk about how you obtain OSOW permits, and then with truck considerations, also going into great detail with the 3 truck cases. We have case 1 where the truck isn't expected to stay in the lane either on entry or navigating the roundabout. Case 2 where the truck stays in lane on the entry, but as they're circulating, they take both lanes. And then case 3, which so they were showing earlier, typically been a fairly large roundabout where the truck stays in lane both on entry and as they're circulating. But as I mentioned before, we're again adding more turbo we got we're really adding these elements to not only help with a design, creating efficient design, but also it's really our assumption. I think this is borne out by the data, is that it's not really clear to a lot of truck drivers as to, they don't know what kind of case roundabout we were building typically. So so these physical elements that we're adding with case 2 and case 3 on entry and through the radius or through the circulatory intersection, it helps confirm to the truck driver that they're supposed to be staying in their lane, which I think is very useful. And there's also been some benefits as far as truck accommodations, because you can increase lane width without compromising speed control with these raised elements. So we can really get hopefully we'll see smaller case 3s being able to be developed, so that'll provide good truck accommodations and more cost-effective solutions. We get into some path alignment concerns, make sure that that's being done correctly. Introduce designers to checking vertical profiles to ensure low boys, things of that nature aren't dragging their bellies across the truck aprons. We go into a good bit about our preferred solutions on cross sections, as far as they go in full depth with curb and gutter, as opposed to header curb, which used to be the norm, or even better, typically cheaper is just putting the truck apron on existing asphalt. So and just and that has a lot of benefits for staging and speed of construction. And we're also introducing some information on crosswalks and how, especially in areas where the truck blisters I mentioned before. There's really a right way and a wrong way to do that. We want to make it clear when you're introducing truck blisters that the pedestrian knows that they shouldn't be standing where the blister is, because obviously if the truck comes through, then that's not a good place for them to be. So providing good guidance on how to do that properly. Finally, moving into signing and marking truck control devices. Signing and marking specifically, we're going to have layouts for to show the signage layouts and everything like that for single lanes, minis, and multi-lanes, case 1, 2, and 3, which yet again gives us more turbo. So we'll have layouts on how to do the raised elements and things of that nature, how to guide the striping, the overhead signs that we want to start putting on multi-lane roundabouts, all that jazz. After that, we're getting into RFBs, pedestrian hybrid beacons, explaining where these might be considered and how they should be introduced to the design. We're also introducing a section on metering to discuss really more, at least in the initial aspect, kind of introducing it as a retrofit option for roundabouts that are starting to underperform due to specific traffic flows and things of that nature. But it goes into how to do that properly, and things like that. We're also put a lot of work into creating a guide to the best way to approach. A lot of these older intersections in these rural neighborhoods are very close to existing trains, so it's definitely not a clear situation where how to introduce a roundabout to that kind of situation. So providing a lot of good guidance on how to control traffic around train crossings. Get into landscaping, which you typically consider a traffic control device, but for roundabouts, providing that mounding, that the trees, the flowers, and stuff like that is visual aids for the driver to know that they're approaching something like a roundabout is really important. So focusing on that, showing how to do landscaping as it pertains to sight distance, and as well as getting into differentiating if you have stamped concrete on areas that are both mountable and non-mountable, showing how to differentiate those two areas with color, different colored patterns. And again, a big part of this this guide is for practical design considerations. Getting into minimizing cost overall, just reducing the size of the roundabout, minimizing impacts to right of way, creating just the correct size roundabout, not over designing it, and things like that. Going with ditches instead of closed drain systems, reducing elements, again to minimize impacts, things like that. Just some examples of how practical design in practice. You can see the red bottom image was original layout, had some more impacts with those right turn free flow lanes. The circle was a bit larger, so there's some improve some kind of melding around with it. We were able to shrink the circle size, but get the performance we needed, and reduce the impact overall. And this is a really big example on minimizing impacts. The initial design, while very good at controlling entry speeds and path deflection, was just a bit much. It was substantially more than was really necessary. It was underutilizing the existing asphalt that was already out there. So went back and sharpened pins and came up with a much more compact design that provides a majority of or nearly all of the same safety benefits at a substantially lower cost, making it a much more feasible project. And some other considerations on staging. The big thing was as far as putting concrete elements on existing asphalt when possible, because that can go down quick and it can just reduce cost to a great extent because of that. And that's all I had for you today. This is my contact information and place where you can find the guide.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go ahead and just transfer over to Cynthia. If you want to stop sharing your screen, Chris, we'll let Cynthia take control.
Okay. Good afternoon again. My name is Cynthia Phillips. I'm the traffic manager for District 5. So I don't have a presentation like Chris had, but I do have a few things to show and share. So we're talking about the interchange in Bryan County, I-95 at Belfast Siding Road. And so before I talk about the interchange itself, I want to get you all familiar with the area. And I'm going to share my screen here. So I assume you can see my map on the screen. Okay. So Bryan County is a county that's located between Savannah and Hinesville, Georgia. It's in southeast Georgia. And it consists of about 450 square miles. What's unique about Bryan County is divided into two parts, given that we do have a military base, Fort Stewart, pretty much splits Bryan County. So when I talk about Bryan County, I want to talk about the south end. South Bryan County is growing, and due to the growth, you have, a whole lot of residential growth, commercial development, and for this area, and when I talk about this area, I'm talking about around Keller. This is our new interchange here at I-95 in Belfast. There were only two interchanges to access I-95 from Bryan County, Richmond Hill. We only had the interchanges of I-95 at US 17 and I-95 at 144. And so the majority of people that live in Bryan County, most, they work in Savannah, and either or so you have about, I would say maybe 25% are commuting to Hinesville. But nevertheless, we needed this interchange. And so the new interchange was actually open to traffic this January. So it had a 2-year contract time. We're talking about a $19 million project. And so, and I just show you photographs about it, of the interchange. Stop sharing that. So this interchange is something, again, it was requested by Bryan County. It was part of their transportation study, as well as the Bryan County, let me get my notes together here. So the need and purpose of this project was basically to facilitate the growing economic development that we have here, as well as to accommodate residential and commercial growth. And it was identified by Bryan County Comprehensive Land Use Plan, as well as their transportation study. So far, we're very proud that we, operationally everything is well. You can see based on the drone photographs, there's not a whole lot of traffic, but I think Bryan County had the right idea in mind to actually propose a roundabout here to support it, because I don't see us ever having to touch this interchange again for any major operation improvements. We may, have to make some changes, those small things that we noticed. This interchange roundabout did not have the solid yellow striping. That's something that's not actually required. We did add that around the circle. We did upgrade some signs at the interchange for the large do not enter signs and wrong way signs, as we have along Interstate 95 interchanges. But we feel that we have the right project here. And as you look, if you see something, Chris, that we probably need to consider, that's fine. But again, what has happened here too, there's some other interchanges that the interchange of US 17, we felt like this interchange would actually alleviate some of the congestion and traffic problems that we have at the interchange further north, as well as the intersection of Belfast Siding Road with US 17. What we've noticed is at a location where we thought we needed to signalize the intersection of US 17 and Belfast, that's no longer needed since we opened this interchange, because now we've opened it up to where, motorists are traveling south here, going south I-95, or they're hitting it going north. So, this has just been great for the county. And one thing I also want to note, as far as Bryan County is concerned, and Chris, you mentioned about 70 roundabouts on state routes, and 20 under construction. In Bryan County, we started out with simply recommending a temporary roundabout. We had a location along 144 where we had some operational issues where there was not many alternatives to consider. We had an existing construction project that we were working on, pre-construction project. So we decided to do a temporary roundabout until that project was ready to let. And that was the first roundabout in Bryan County. And for that opened it up. I mean, Bryan County is very, they're very comfortable roundabouts. I mean, it didn't take a whole lot for us to sell the idea of installing the roundabout in Bryan County. And so they've actually installed 3 roundabouts in Bryan County, the county has, and then we have since programmed 4. And these 2 here would be 2 of those. And then we also have 2 under construction at the interchange of I-95 and State Route 144. So of the 3 interchanges in Bryan County, of the 3, 2 of them will have roundabouts. And then, so the whole grid, you know, it's just expanded with roundabouts. And we're just very proud of that. Operationally, it's just great. So that's pretty much what I have. If you guys have any questions, I can elaborate a little bit more.
Thanks, Cynthia. I think that the images weren't showing up. So if you would like to pull those up, maybe try to share those again.
You said it in.
Helpful for.
You said you did not see the image?
Correct.
Okay, let's try that again.
So I actually grew up in Richmond Hill and Keller, so I can't tell you how happy my family was when those roundabouts opened up that interchange at Belfast Keller. It just made it so much quicker for them to travel to and from the interstate. So I know that the residents down there are really enjoying it.
Maybe hold on one second. Let me close a few screens out. If you don't
It looks like
mind.
it's trying to share.
Let's close that one. Well, if you give me a second, I mean, I'm Teams, I'm in Zoom, so hold on, I done messed up here.
Okay.
Figure out. Okay, share.
We can see your one screen with the presentation.
Okay. What about now?
Let's see, we can see so it's showing us your folder, not the video. You need to switch, if you have more than one screen there, change the screen that's sharing.
How about now? Are you seeing it?
So right, yep, there we go.
So Carol, we have 7 roundabouts, two that are under construction, 5 are already built, and then 1 is being proposed by Bryan County. So
What's the timeline on the I-95, or the 95 at 144
144.
roundabouts?
I believe there's about another year left on that, but they're moving along pretty good. I don't have that actual information, but I would say about a year.
Okay. Sounds good.
And again, this one was actually completed within about 2 years. This also includes a brand new interchange that we didn't have here. So, Chris, do you have anything you want to add?
To this particular interchange?
Yes.
Nothing really a whole lot. Yeah, it's great to see more interchange roundabouts. It's definitely important. We get good, work with the districts whenever we can to help out with these aids and make sure they're designed as safe as possible. The great thing about single lanes though is that they show themselves to be very resilient to suboptimal geometrics. So even if it's you're not getting the full left offset and things like that, overall they've been showing themselves to perform well in a lot of less than desirable cases. So it's a beautiful roundabout.
So I think, Chris, we've actually got one question I think is directed towards you. It comes to when designing a single lane roundabout, do you determine the entry path, curvature, radius based off typical values, or how would you determine that, the entry path, curvature, radius into a single lane?
Yeah, I think get back with them offline on that one maybe. It's we're really just running your truck pass or your fastest pass to really set the radius and then build it out from there.
I don't think we have anything else. So if there's nothing else I'd like to add, I'd like to thank y'all for taking the time to come and talk to us about work you've got going on. And I'd like to thank Mar Traffic one more time for sponsoring. So with no more questions, we'll go ahead and call an end to today's meeting. So thank you all very much.